Hi, subscribe to the channel, and for 1000 subscribers on the channel a video with stories for 24 hours will be released and also a bonus which you will learn about in the future.
Andre, a successful businessman, returned home after a long day at work. His house was quiet and empty, which seemed strange. Irina, his wife, was usually home at this time. He sent her a few messages, but there was no answer. A few hours passed, and Andre began to worry. He tried to call Irina, but her phone was switched off. Overwhelmed with anxiety, he decided to check her computer to find any traces of her whereabouts. Entering her mail, Andre found many letters sent to an address unknown to him. He opened one of the letters and read, "Dima, I miss you. I hope to see you soon. Today, Andre again refused to buy me a car, and I decided that I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to go to you for the weekend. I love you." Andre couldn't believe his eyes. He continued reading the letters and learned more and more details about Irina's affair with some Dima. It followed from the correspondence that Irina regularly met with him in his apartment on the outskirts of the city. He also learned that Dima was a drug addict and that Irina had started using drugs with him. Shocked, Andre felt his world crumble. He had always thought that their marriage was perfect, that they were happy together. And now he found out that his wife had betrayed him by choosing to live with a drug addict. Andre decided to conduct his own investigation. He took the address he found in the letters and went there. When he arrived at the indicated house, his heart sank with pain. He saw Irina in the company of Dima and his friends leaving the entrance, barely able to stand on her feet. She looked exhausted and worn out. Andre took several photos on his phone to have proof of her betrayal. Returning home, he did not know what to do next. He needed time to think everything over and make a decision. Irina returned home at night, and Andre decided not to make a scene. He wanted to understand how far her relationship with Dima had gone and how drugs were affecting her. Now he had to come up with a plan to not only deal with the betrayal, but also save Irina from her destructive path. The next morning, Andre couldn't resist starting a conversation with Irina. She looked tired with dark circles under her eyes, but she tried to act as if nothing had happened. "Irina," he began, trying to speak calmly, "we need to talk." Irina, caught off guard, sat down nervously at the table. "What do you want to talk about?" Her voice was shaking, but she tried to remain confident. "About your weekend," Andre answered, looking intently into her eyes. "Where were you? And with whom?" Irina hesitated, her gaze darting around the room, avoiding meeting his eyes. "I was at a friend's," she tried to lie. Andre sighed quietly and put the photos he had taken the day before on the table. Irina froze when she saw them. "Irina, I know about you and Dima. I know that you are with him and that you use drugs together," Andre said. "Why are you doing this? Why did you betray me?" Tears welled up in Irina's eyes, and she clutched her head in her hands. "Andre, I don't know what happened to me. It all started when you refused to buy me the car I dreamed of. You always said that I wanted too much, that my desires were not important. I met Dima by chance, and he showed me another world where I can be free, where I can get what I want," she said, sobbing. Andre was shocked by her words. He couldn't believe that all of this happened because of the car. "Irina, do you understand that you not only betrayed me, but also ruined your life? Drugs, this man, they will only destroy you," he said, trying to get through to her. Irina nodded silently, but Andre understood that she still did not understand the seriousness of the situation. "I want you to stop all contact with Dima and start treatment. I am ready to help you if you agree to it," he offered. But Irina only shook her head. "I can't, Andre. I'm already too deep. I love him and I can't live without him. Forgive me," she said, sobbing. Andre realized that the situation was getting out of control. He couldn't just watch his wife destroy herself. He needed to find a way to protect her even if she didn't want it. "Okay, Irina," he said quietly. "If you don't want treatment, I still won't leave you. I will do everything I can to save you." The next day, Andre met with his friend Victor to discuss the situation. Victor, knowing the whole story, was shocked by Irina's behavior and could not believe that she had changed so much. "Andre, I understand that you want to help her, but listen to me," Victor began, choosing his words carefully. "She has already made her choice. You cannot drag her back if she does not want it herself. You are risking your life, your career, your future. Think about yourself and your well-being." Andre nodded silently, although everything inside him was boiling. He knew that Victor was right, but he could not just leave Irina. "I understand what you are saying. She's destroying herself," Andre replied. "I have to try." Victor sighed and put his hand on his friend's shoulder. "I understand you, but be careful. If the situation gets out of control, you can lose everything. Don't forget that," he warned. When Andre returned home, he immediately felt that something was wrong. The front door was ajar, and loud voices and laughter were coming from inside. He went inside and was shocked by what he saw. The apartment, which he always kept clean and tidy, had turned into a real drug den. Bottles, syringes, and cigarette butts were strewn everywhere. There were several people in the living room, including Irina, who were clearly high on drugs. They were chatting happily and did not notice his presence. The orgy and unbridled scenes that were happening before his eyes caused a wave of anger in Andre. He could hardly restrain himself from screaming. "What's going on here?" he asked loudly, trying to control himself. Irina, seeing him, tried to get up, but her movements were awkward and slow. "Andre, it's just a party. Relax," she said, trying to smile, but her eyes were empty and glassy. Andre could no longer hold back. He walked up to one of the partygoers and forcibly pulled him out of the apartment. The others, seeing his determination and rage, hurried to follow his example. "Get out of here! Everyone! Now!" he shouted, pushing people out of his house. When the apartment was finally empty, he turned to Irina. "Do you understand what you're doing? You're ruining our lives," he said, barely holding back tears. Irina just looked at him, unable to answer. Andre knew that this was the last chance to save her and himself. He had to make a difficult decision and do everything he could to rebuild his life and protect Irina, even if she didn't realize it herself. After Andre kicked everyone out of the apartment, he was left alone with Irina. They were silent for a long time, standing in the middle of the destroyed living room. Andre understood that Irina needed help, but he also realized that he could not tolerate her behavior any longer. "Irina, I don't know what happened to you, but I can't live like this anymore," he said, trying to remain calm. "I want to help you, but you have to want it yourself." Irina sobbed and hung her head, not knowing what to say. Andre sighed and came closer to her, hugging her. "Let's go to the bedroom," he suggested quietly. "We need to talk." Irina nodded, and they went to the bedroom together. There, alone with each other, they spent the night, discussing their situation and remembering the past. Andre felt that this might be their last chance to be together. He tried to convey to Irina the seriousness of her actions and the consequences they would lead to. When the morning came, Andre realized that his decision was inevitable. "Irina, you need to leave," he said, getting out of bed. "I can't live with you anymore until you change." Irina burst into tears, realizing that Andre was serious. "Please don't do this," she begged. "I'll try to change, I promise." Andre shook his head. "You have to prove it with your actions, not with your words," he answered firmly. "I love you, but I can't stand what's happening anymore. Go away and find yourself. If you really want to come back, you have to prove it." With these words, he helped Irina pack her things and led her out of the house. She cried, begged him to change his mind, but he remained steadfast. After Irina left, Andre contacted one of his guards, Peter, and instructed him to keep an eye on her. "Peter, I want you to keep an eye on Irina for a couple of days," he said. "Make sure she's okay and that she doesn't get into any trouble. Let me know anything that happens." Peter nodded, accepting the order. "Understood, Andre. I'll do my best," he replied. Andre felt relieved to know that someone would be watching over Irina. He hoped that this time would help her realize that she needed to change her life and get back on the right path. But Irina just burst out laughing, unable to control her actions. "Leave me alone!" she screamed. "No one needs me anymore!" The situation quickly got out of control. Passers-by began posting videos of Irina on social media, and these images quickly spread. Soon, everyone found out that this woman was the wife of a famous businessman, Andre. Andre was sitting in his office when his phone started exploding with notifications. Colleagues and friends were sending him links to videos featuring Irina. His heart sank with pain and shame. He couldn't believe that the situation had gone so far. One of the videos, where Irina was having sex with a stranger right on the street, went viral, collecting millions of views. People in the comments discussed her fall, condemned her, and expressed sympathy for Andre. Andre was shocked, but he knew that he had to act. He decided to hire the best lawyers and reputation management specialists to minimize the damage to his business and personal life. "I will do everything possible to protect my children and my reputation," he told Peter. And Irina, she made her choice. "I hope that one day she will understand what she has done and try to change her life." Andre continued to follow the news about his wife, hoping that one day she would find the strength to break out of this vicious circle and start all over again. Andre could no longer calmly watch what was happening. The scandals around Irina were destroying his reputation and jeopardizing the future of their children. He felt that every new day brought more problems and pain. "Peter, I can't stand this anymore," Andre told his security guard when he came to him with another report. "Irina is ruining our family's name. I have to do something. I will have to kill her or put her in prison." Peter looked at Andre carefully, realizing how serious the situation was. "Andre, I understand your despair, but murder is not the answer. We must find a way to legally and safely get rid of her influence on your life and reputation." Andre thought about it. He knew that Peter was right. Murder was an extreme step that would bring even more problems, but putting Irina in prison seemed a more realistic option. "We must collect evidence of her crimes," Peter continued. "Drug addiction, public disorder, and debauchery. All of this can become the basis for her arrest and prosecution." Andre nodded, realizing that this was indeed the best way. "Okay, Peter, start collecting evidence. I want everything to be done according to the law. She must answer for her actions." For the next few weeks, Peter, along with private detectives and lawyers, collected all the necessary materials. Witnesses, videos, and documents confirming Irina's criminal actions were found. Andre filed a police report, and Irina was soon arrested. All of her activities over the past months were under close scrutiny by law enforcement agencies. She was awaiting trial, where all of the evidence collected was presented. At the trial, Irina looked broken and humiliated. She realized that her actions had led to catastrophic consequences not only for her, but also for her family. The court sentenced her to several years in prison for drug addiction, public disorder, and debauchery. Andre felt relieved, knowing that Irina could no longer harm him and their children. Her arrest and conviction helped clear his name and restore his reputation. "You made the right choice," said Pyotr as they left the courthouse. "Now you can focus on the future and your children." Andre nodded, feeling that a new chapter in his life was just beginning. He knew that there was a lot of work ahead, but now he was ready to cope with any difficulties. The trial was coming to an end when Irina suddenly stood up and asked to speak. The judge, with some caution, allowed her to speak. "I'm pregnant," Irina said quietly, looking down. "From one of the people I spent time with." The courtroom froze. Andre, sitting on the other side of the room, felt his heart clench. This revelation changed everything. The judge looked at Irina with sympathy and asked her lawyer to confirm what she had said. The doctor's certificates were presented, and the judge was forced to take them into account. "Due to this new circumstance," the judge began, "we cannot send Irina to prison in her condition. However, she will need to undergo drug treatment and participate in a rehabilitation program." Andre, sitting in his seat, felt his plan for revenge crumble. He could not allow Irina to remain in Paris, continuing to ruin his life and reputation. He had to find another way to rid himself and the children of her influence. After the trial, when everyone had left, Andrei approached Irina. She looked scared and exhausted. "Irina," he began, trying to remain calm, "you can't stay here any longer. You have to leave." "Where?" she asked, her voice shaking. "To your mother, to the village, to Siberia. And there you will be under her care and you will be able to start a new life. There is no place for you here anymore." Irina lowered her head. She understood that Andrei was leaving her no choice. Deep down, she knew that this was the best decision for everyone. "Okay," she whispered. "I will leave." Andrei nodded, feeling that despite everything, he had made the right decision. He provided Irina with a ticket and the necessary funds for the first time. A few days later, Irina left Paris and went to Siberia. Now that she was far away, Andrei could focus on rebuilding his life and the lives of his children. He knew that new challenges awaited him ahead, but he was ready to cope with them, knowing that he had done everything possible to protect his family.